Now today we will discuss about the paranasal air sinuses. In short form, it is the PNS. Now the general features are the introduction. What are the paranasal sinuses? These paranasal air sinuses are air-filled cavities in the bones that are present around the nasal cavity. If you see the development, they develop as a mucus diverticulum from the main nasal cavity. Means there is a single cavity, nasal cavity. From this nasal cavity, small pouch, diverticulum, and this invade the surrounding bones, and thus the paranasal sinuses are formed. Everyone knows there are 4 paranasal air sinuses on each side. This is the frontal air sinus, ethmoidal air sinus, maxillary air sinus, and the sphenoidal air sinus. And they are named according to the bones in which they are present. Means the frontal air sinus present in the frontal bone, ethmoidal air sinus present in the ethmoid bone, maxillary air sinus present in the maxilla, as well as the sphenoidal air sinus present in the sphenoid bone. So they are named according to the bones in which they are present. Now all the paranasal sinuses are present in the pairs, except it is the ethmoidal air sinus. This ethmoidal air sinus is present in the 3 groups on each side. It is the anterior, posterior, and the medial. So, except the ethmoidal air sinus, all the sinuses are present in the pairs, and this ethmoidal air sinus is present in the 3 groups on each side. Now the next point, it is the orbit of the eye, which serves as a landmark to determine the location or position of the paranasal sinuses. It is the orbit of the eye. It means the frontal air sinus is situated above the orbit. Ethmoidal air sinus is present medial to the orbit. Maxillary air sinus is situated inferior to the orbit, while the sphenoidal air sinus is present behind the orbit. So it is the orbit of the eye that determine the location of the paranasal sinuses. Now, at time of the birth, the paranasal sinuses are present in the rudimentary form. Small cavities present, very small cavity, except it is the frontal air sinus. Frontal air sinus. This frontal air sinus is absent at the time of the birth. It is not developed at the time of the intrauterine life, but it develops at the 2nd, 3rd year of the age after birth. So at the time of the birth, all the paranasal sinuses are present in the rudimentary form except the frontal air sinus. It develops after birth at the age of 2nd to 3rd year life. Now, these paranasal sinuses exhibit 2 spurs of growth. Means they show 2 stages at which they rapidly increase in the size, all the paranasal sinuses. And these are first at the 6 to 8 years of the age. And this is the time during which the permanent eruptions occurs. So the first rapid growth is at the time of the 6 to 8 years of the age, and the second rapid growth at the time of the puberty. After puberty, they reach the adult size. Now these paranasal sinuses are clinically divided into the two groups. This is the anterior group and the posterior group. The anterior group, it includes those sinuses which drain into the middle meatus. Middle meatus, we discussed the middle meatus in the lateral wall of the nasal cavity. So the sinuses that drains into the middle meatus are included into the anterior group. The question is, what are those sinuses? Now the posterior group, rest of the sinus comes into the posterior group, means the sinus that drains into the superior meatus, the sinus that drains into the sphenoethmoidal recess comes into the posterior group. There is one important point, there is no sinus that drains into the inferior meatus. Now the next point, the features that common to the all paranasal sinuses. The first feature, they are lined by the respiratory epithelium, and this respiratory epithelium contains the mucus secreting goblet cells. The respiratory epithelium, it is the pseudo-stratified ciliated columnar epithelium. So all the sinuses are lined by this pseudo-stratified ciliated columnar epithelium. Now all the sinuses drains into the nasal cavity through their opening. These openings are known as the ostium, and these ostium are present in the lateral wall of the nasal cavity. So all the paranasal sinuses through their ostium or opening drains into the nasal cavity, and from the nasal cavity secretion goes to the nasopharynx. Now their sensory supply, they are supplied by the branch of the trigeminal nerve. The trigeminal nerve, it has the three divisions: ophthalmic, maxillary and the mandibular, out of which this ophthalmic and maxillary nerve is the sensory. It is the sensory, and its branches, the branches of the ophthalmic and the branches of the maxillary nerve provide sensory supply to all paranasal sinuses. Now the next, in the X-ray field, plain X-ray, the normal paranasal sinus appears translucent. It appears black. In the plain X-ray, if the paranasal sinuses are normal, so there is an air filled cavity and the air appears black in the X-ray field. Now if there is a pathological, if there is a inflammation that is known as the sinusitis, there is a collection of the fluid, and the ostium is closed or there is any growth, in this condition on X-ray film it appears opaque. It appears white or green. So normal paranasal sinuses appears black, while the pathological it appears white or green. Now the functions of the paranasal sinus. It is the matter of the debate. It is not clear why these paranasal sinuses are present, but according to the opinion, these paranasal sinuses make the skull lighter. Then they add the resonance in the voice. They help aid in growth of the facial skeleton after birth. They participate in the growth of the facial skeleton, and they act as a air conditioning chamber for inspired air by adding temperature and humidity in the air. So these are the 4 important functions of these paranasal sinuses.